This is the Millerods SwitchFreak Ultralight, or the SwitchFreak UL. Now this rod won't need an introduction to a lot of bass anglers because it has been around for a couple of seasons and it's very, very popular. It's one of our best selling rods and it's been used by some of the best anglers in the business, especially in the tournament fishing. And when I designed this rod initially, I wanted a rod to fish jigs, but I also wanted to be versatile because obviously jigs are a fairly seasonal technique and there's a lot of other lures that will still be fished really well off a light bait cast outfit like this. But the jigs is where it really excels, and I'll run through the reasons why. Firstly, this rod is super light. It literally floats in your hand, which makes it not only super sensitive, so you can detect a lot of those jig bites when you're just slowly dragging them across the bottom, but it also means the rod tip naturally comes up when you're fishing, because jig fishing is a tip up type technique. You're always monitoring your line for movement or to feel for a bite. And if you're using a top heavy, unbalanced rod, not only are you going to miss bites, but it also becomes really tiring to use. So that was one of the big philosophies behind this blank when I developed it. 7'3", it's very versatile as well. I fish jigs on this out of my local river for bass, and I don't so much cast them and drag them, I actually pitch them like they do in America, which is like a flipping style. So this rod's also excellent for that because it's one of the main techniques that I wanted to be able to do with this rod. Now it's also great for any lure in this class. So spinnerbaits, perfect. Larger topwater lures, perfect. And it's got a really smooth action, so it's suitable for all the different hook types as well. It'll handle treble hooks really nicely. It goes gentle on the hook holds, so you're not ripping the hooks out of the fish with an aggressive rod action. And that smooth rod action also means that it casts very easily, regardless of what lure you've got tied on the end. Some guys will have a bunch of these on their deck and that's all they use, and they'll just pick up whatever rod they want to, depending on what lure is tied on it. And that way they know exactly what the rod's going to do and how it's going to feel. They're just changing up their approach as they fish. Now the features of this rod, apart from the blank, starting at the handle, we've got our exclusive hook keeper down here near the butt grip. Now this is ideal for getting those jigs on and off, which sometimes have little weed guards, sometimes they're not all that easy to get on a hook keeper. This is one I developed for the American market, also ideal for using out here. Every single lure will stay in that hook keeper and it's out of the way down near the bottom of the rod. The skeleton reel seat, the Control Freak style, all Fuji parts, minimal EVA, it's only there where you really need it, and it's custom shaped so it's nice and comfortable in the hand. When it comes to the guide train, I like to use a lot of guides on all the bait casting rods because it really does make the operation super smooth. Now, this is a 7'3" rod, but it has 11 guides plus tip top. So what that means is your line continually slides on and off the rod super smoothly, super easily, regardless of whether you're casting or retrieving or fighting a fish. The operation's always really smooth. This actually helps your accuracy and distance in casting, and another good aspect of it is that your line will actually last longer because there's less friction on it, and all these contact points on the blank all the way along means that it actually is more sensitive. It's transferring more feel back to your hand through all these points on the rod. So that's the SwitchFreak UL. It also has our removable handle design, one-piece blade for the tip for that uninterrupted action, but ease of storage and transport and that sort of thing if you're a little bit cramped for space. When it comes to matching lines to this rod, it'll fish both fluorocarbon and braid and leader. Braid and leader is still the most popular at the moment, but fluorocarbon's making inroads into that approach and there's good reasons for it. The rod will hand either the guide train is semi-micro, which means they're not super tiny guides, they're reasonably small guides to keep the weight off the tip of the rod, so it maintains that balance and sensitivity. And whenever we're designing rods and we're looking at line and that sort of thing, I always design them with an FG knot in mind. So just remember that if you want to use your braid and leader connection, the FG is the way to go. Keep your knots at a real minimum. If you want to see all the details, you can visit our website, millerods.com.au. If you want to see one in the flesh, look up our retailer list and drop into your local retailer and have a look. I'm sure you'll be happy.